Welcome to our weekly meeting for our container security group. Alexander, looks like you've got the first item.
Yes, let me open up the thing. Right. So the thing I'm going to demo is, well, I don't have it ready to demo yet, but L7 network policies are now working for threat monitoring. There was an issue with saving them and viewing them all because of the YAML parsing, but actually Sam put up the original code to fix this issue, and then I sort of just added to it and cleaned it up a bit. And so now L7 policies, network policies can now be saved, which is great. Awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Alexander, for finishing that up and getting it actually working. So on our next item, I just wanted to take normally we don't talk through bugs as like planning breakdown here, but I thought it might be useful just to talk through a couple of these to raise the visibility for the rest of the group, since they are affecting the UI here in the policy editor. So again, this is just a walkthrough. It's really informational. There's no action coming out of this other than just general awareness of what's going on. So this first bug that we have open is just some cleanup. Alexander just mentioned getting that error state working correctly. Annabelle was suggesting to remove this grayed out area entirely and just show the error so that there's no reason to show it, since they can't use it if we're not able to parse the policy. Open question as well, I think right now in this issue, or out to Annabelle about the description field. Then we also have another related item here where today in our mocks, we show, this is actually a good mock right here. We have the name, the description, the environment, and this toggle are all available. Some of these elements are defined in the YAML itself. So when you switch into YAML mode, you actually define the description and the enabled disabled status there. So we want to clean that up so that there's only one place on the screen at any given time to define things. And that would involve keeping the name and environment up at the top, but moving the description and the enabled disabled status down lower. So it's actually part of this rule mode tab. And then when you switch into YAML mode, those elements would not be present because they're going to be defined in the YAML itself. So this is something that I missed early on. I think we all missed it, quite frankly, just in our design reviews, but really we should only have one place on a page to define something. Or if we do have two places, then we should implement some kind of two-way synchronization between them. But ideally just one place. This is something to keep an eye on as well, because when we start implementing our scan execution policies, the name actually is defined in the YAML. So that's a key difference there to note between network policy types and scan execution policy types, is that for network policies, the name is a separate field, whereas for scan execution policies, the name would be defined in the YAML. So we'd actually want to hide that name area as well when we get to that. And I think that's reflected in the mocks. Apologies for not having this up ahead of time. So when we do start to build this out in the UI, the mock here for this does not have a name text box because that's being defined here in the YAML. So again, just something to note, we want to be a little bit more cognizant than we have been in the past, making sure again that there's only one place in the UI to define these things. And that being said, unless there are questions or comments, we'll move to our 13.12 kickoff.
I'll take the back end.
Thanks for the clarification, Sam.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'll do the back end. Let's see if my screen sharing will last through the whole session. Please let me know.
Alexander, would you mind taking the front end when he's done? Cool.
Can everybody see this? Sounds like yes, thank you. So this is the board for 13.11. We have 19.12 points in closed. I'm counting the ones in verification, assuming they'll close soon. So let's call it 24. This is only backend issues. And then going back to 13, 12, we currently have 14 points. So in theory, we have some headroom in there, which will be taken by 1, the issues that are still in refinement, and 2, the spike issues in the milestone, which we have at least 3, 4. So going from refinement, this is something that we've been wanting to do, which is load testing the alerts feature to make sure that you know, if there's a deluge of alerts coming in from Agent K or from your Kubernetes cluster, we won't crash a GitLab's instance. Second one is a follow-up for the security orchestration feature that's still on the behind the feature flag, identified as a maintainer. We always try to do follow-ups as soon as possible. Moving on to one of our priorities, which is this extend DAS policy to support schedule execution. That's part of the schedule epic, schedule scans epic. We have a QA issue to look at the new Trevi scanner that we're replacing Claire with Trevi in container scanning, and we want to review the existing QA. We are under the impression that a lot of the tests that were being done as end-to-end tests are now done as part of the container scanning project as specs, and they're a lot quicker to run, so we don't have to use the end-to-end process for that. And if there's anything that we do need to use end-to-end for, we want to take a look at as part of this. The things that are ready for development, we want to be able to measure usage of the feature, so that's an issue to add that. This is part of implementing the schedule scans, some database changes. This is part of the DB rapid action. It's a request that came from the initiative. There have been some performance issues in production, and we've been asked to look at our backyard, our own backyard, and see if we can find anything there. I'm not expecting to find heaps, but the scope is in there if anybody wants to have a look. Something that we've been working on, it's blocked because this is both for front end and back end, by the way. It's blocked because Zamir and Alexander are currently doing their training, and we'll progress on it as soon as that happens. Another follow-up from the previous feature. Then we have a spike to look at Starboard, which is part of the Epic to scan containers running in production. We have another spike to check what would be needed to use UBIs. Those are Red Hat.
Although your screen is not updating.
There you go. See, let me see if I stop and start again. Thank you. How about, did it come back? No? All right. I'll just talk through the rest of them.
Just getting the words. Yeah, we're still following you verbally, though. I was.
All right. When did it die? Out of curiosity.
It's hard to tell.
Hard to tell.
No, it was right on the screen was still showing that the testing one that you had a verification. So it was right at the end of your verification column.
Yeah, okay.
I mean refinement. Sorry.
So the next issue is the spike for UBI, universal base images. They're Red Hat images, and in theory, you should be able to just use them, but in practice, it's all very different, and we need to test it. So that's why it's there. And finally, there's a separate. It's not very common to have separate issues for documentation. We typically do documentation as part of features, but in this case, there's quite a bit to clean up due to the change from Claire to Trevi, so we'll be doing that. And that's all the news that's fit to print for backend. Alexander, any questions? No? All right, over to you, Alexander.
Fit to print. I like that. I will share my.
You can use it. I
I
hereby
will.
grant you a license. Because I came up with it, you know.
Yeah. Thank you. I will use that. I will try to share my screen. Let's see what happens. So here we are for 13.12 for the front end issues for this milestone. I will also start with refinement. Policy editor YAML mode UI is not synchronized properly. Sam just went over that. So I will not repeat it. Going to ready for development, create a drawer to show on alert select. So this is when you're on, do I have that page open? Yes, when you're here. Ooh, this is a little preview for everyone. It's coming down the pipeline. Right now, when you click on the name of an alert, it'll open up to alert details page. We want a more general click along the entire row here. That will open up a drawer on the right-hand side, so you don't have to drill into the details page. It's very similar to what we have here for policies. We want this same thing, but for alerts. Oh boy. Okay, I had forgotten which tab was mine. Create an instant from an alert. That is already available through the details page. The remaining work is simply to create this column, which you see here, and to show the users and allow them to click to the instant from there. The tests just need to be written for that. Similarly, assign and unassign an individual to alert. That is already available through the details page. We need to add a column for that. We also need to make sure that you can assign an individual through the drawer. Threat monitoring, policy page, design bug, new rule does not auto-populate on load. Ah, yes, that's right. I do know about that one. That is when you go to create a policy and Zoom's in your way. No, new policy here. Okay, GK is down, but basically when you create a new policy, you have to click the new rule button to create a new one. This is gonna create one automatically for you. Truncate issue on the right side. Yes, that is, again, on the details page. There's just some overflow with the assignee's name that we need to clean up. Improve knowledge. I need to do that. That is basically training for end-to-end testing so that we can create some end-to-end tests for the alerts, which is great. This one I'm going to remove from our team because, no, follow-up, what is this one actually? Follow-up, add route for.
I think we decided that one was more back end than front end in the end.
Okay. Cool. Then I won't talk about it.
So one thing to add to what Alexander just said was in the last two milestones, the front end team, aka Alexander, with some contribution from some back end / full stack engineers, have closed 15 points or a weight of 15 in the last two milestones. So we have a little under that, which means there's a little bit of maybe capacity to pull something from the next milestone if possible.
Cool. And that is all that is fit to print, as they say.
I had a question. In the list of priorities, I saw a P4 bug above a P3. Was that on purpose?
That is, there are no P4 bugs. They're all P3s actually. Oh, no, I do see it. It's a different color. New rule.
Green.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you. I will move that. I just
swapped them.
Yeah.
No, I just swapped them.
I did it, so you probably swapped them back.
Refresh the page. No, they're still okay. The 3's ahead of the 4. Thank you, Tiago.
You're very welcome.
All right.
This is the first milestone that we successfully kicked off.
I know.
So yay.
Quite happy about that.
Thanks, everyone. It's been great going through these things today, and I'm looking forward to the 13.12 release.
Sam, by your silence, I think you're happy with the. I'm hearing echo. Is that me? All right, I'm giving up.
It looks good.
You happy?
And yep, thanks for joining today. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye. Sam, I think there's an echo on your side.